untuk tahun ini? Amin, awak dapat 5A. Okey, apa harapan awak bila masuk sekolah menengah?
Saya fokus belajar je.
Awak nak fokus belajar je?
Untuk mengalami SPM.
Awak nak masuk sekolah menengah tu depan kan? Ada tak macam awak ni tak sabar je nak cuba tu, tak sabar dah. Apa awak excited?
Tak sabar nak jumpa kawan-kawan yang baru. Macam kadang 2, 3, 4, 5 semua.
Apa favourite memory dekat Dewan Makan ni, ada tak?
Makan malam ni kita bersama-sama makan malam dengan kawan sekali. Kita bersatu. Kita jumpa dengan kecil dengan besar.
So akhir sekolah bila semua makan ramai-ramai.
When was the first time you felt that your opinion was heard as a child? Is your answer never? When you were younger, did any of your parent or family members ask what you wanted to do for Raya? Had any of your teachers back in school asked you after a lesson, cikgu ajar tadi, faham tak? Did any of your older siblings or relatives asked anything about what your thoughts were about life? Dia budak lagi tu, tak matang lagi, tak makan cukup garam lagi. These are all things that were thrown to us when we were younger, and unfortunately, we throw them back to children who are living their lives for the very first time. Monsters Among Us is a youth-led group that works closely with children and adults to achieve happier, safer, healthier, and most importantly, freer childhoods. Now, when I say the word free, freedom, bebas, what do you feel? Does your body embrace these words? Do you long for freedom yourself? Or do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel uneasy thinking about the idea that we want free children? How could that be, right? Kita kena kawal budak-budak, tak apa-apa dalam phone dia, right? So it might be an alien concept for us to want to see children. But as a youth-led organization, we believe that children are able to make informed decisions.
Saya rasa saya boleh suarakan apa-apa yang saya
Sorry,
inginkan.
the one before? Before? We're not here yet. Yes, still here. So as I was saying, as an organization, we believe that children are able to make informed and well-made decisions for themselves. We propose, yes, children can say no to children can say no to premarital sex. We propose that, yes, children want and can prioritize education over risky behaviors like bullying, sexting, and others. But the question is, how do we get there? The question is, how do we make sure that young people can make decisions for themselves instead of parroting what adults say to them? So when I say children, we're referring to those below the age of 18. And technically, legally in Malaysia, this group of people are the ones who are legally inhibited to make decisions, right? They can't vote, they can't enter into contracts, but in Malaysia they do. They're able to get married, that's for sure. The very first decision is whether to include children or not in the conversation. And to be really honest, it's not about it being a decision as opposed to a duty to involve children in matters that affect them. Children have a right to be included in all matters affecting them, and the best way to find out whether that is the case is to simply ask them. A seemingly obvious but frequently ignored first step. This is a quote by Professor Laura Landy. So, we took the time to ask a friend of ours about what he understands about his right to be heard, and this is what he shared.
Saya rasa saya boleh suarakan apa-apa yang saya perlukan.
Okey.
Contohnya, saya boleh bersuara waktu nak pilih aktiviti kurikulum atau yang saya minat nak masuk.
Kakak minat apa?
Subjek
Subjek
seni.
seni. Boleh pilih ke seni kalau dah masuk sekolah menengah?
Cukup.
Tak tahu lagi. Oh.
A simple matter of choosing a subject that you like is also something children don't know if they can make that decision or not. So what is shown here is a model of participation where it breaks down Article 12 of the United Nations of Child Rights Convention, which Malaysia is a state party to. So it talks about how young people should be heard and how their voices should be taken to account. But in reality, what does that look like? What does that mean when we say children should meaningfully participate in societies? Children should meaningfully participate in conversations. So let's use online child exploitation and abuse as a case study. We think it's a problem, right? Children are being sexually harassed online. It's a problem that they are sexting and that they're sending nudes to each other. It's a problem that they are befriending strangers and they're having secret video calls with their boyfriends and girlfriends online. It's a problem that they are saying yes to strangers and running away from home. It's a problem and we all need to protect them. But the question is, what do we do next? Do we jump into a conclusion that is based off what adults think is the problem and what we think the solutions are? For example, perhaps banning social media to those who are 16-year-old and below. Or do we take time and ask them what they think about online and the digital space? Do we take time and ask them what they understand about safety? What does it mean to build connections and friendships online? Because like it or not, their childhoods are in digital spaces. It's not a second world for them, it's their first world. So that's an opportunity for us to think about what would be our usual next step. Our laws in Malaysia definitely does not safeguard young people's right to participate. So how do we as policymakers, as civil society, as NGOs, and as funders to ensure that their right to participate is safeguarded? However, one of the challenges that we observe on the ground is that young people rarely get the chance to form their own agency. The State of the World Population Report 2025 tells us that nearly 1 in 3 individuals have unintended pregnancies. Why? Are we talking about unintended pregnancies that affect only people out of marriage? Or do married people also have unintended pregnancies? Do people know that there is a way to prevent pregnancies if they don't want it? Do people know that they can make that option, that they can have that choice? This is the real crisis, a crisis of agency as what UNFPA calls it. And in reality, many of our young people adopt, they take in aspirations, dreams, definitions on what has been thrown to them by society, and most commonly from family and community environments. The work that we do at MAU points us to different lived realities across different communities. And these communities are systematically marginalized, silenced, and underinvested. We engage with boys who literally think that their only value is there when they are able to contribute to their families. We engage with girls who are groomed to believe that your achievements and the assigned milestones to you, like marriage or motherhood, is where your value is at. We know of girls who have to quit school because of an unintended pregnancy, and the boy continues school in the name of protecting the girl from shame and stigma. Not to mention our communities in Malaysia who are not even legally recognized. So while all of these societal expectations, all of these societal definitions that we put onto children, the question is, do they know what it is to be? Do they know what it means for them to form their own agency, to form their own identity, to form their own opinions? When was the first time you had an opinion as a young person? That's something to ask yourself. Do we as a society enable or disable agency making? Do young people know how it feels like to form an opinion? Because, for example, when we engage young people in different workshops, we literally tell them, hey, this session, you decide what you want. It really does take time for them to know what they want or don't want. The concept of choice, the concept of autonomy, is unfortunately foreign to many of us. Which brings me to my last proposition. We know that it is a child's right to be heard. We know that their views need to be taken into account. We know that we must create environments that allow young people to step into their agency. But that also means we need to allow young people to make mistakes. I always repeat myself when I enter into different spaces because there's this beautiful concept in the UNCRC that is called evolving capacities. The evolving capacities see children as capable of making decisions so long as they are provided with appropriate guidance by adults and communities according to their age and development. So that in itself is a right. The process for them to make mistakes, for them to fail, for them to cry, it is all part of their experience, and that experience is a right that has to be protected. Because in reality, we expect perfection from our children, whether we admit it or not. We expect children to do well in academics. We expect them to do well in sports and extracurricular activities. We expect them to be compliant and obedient, but we blame them when they do not know how to say no to harm. We scream, this is a safe space, but we expect children to sit on a chair for the longest time in a workshop, and we judge them for wanting to scream, for wanting to go around. There is always one right way to be. The right way to dress up, the right way to speak. We don't make room for them to make mistakes. There's no room to fail because we are so afraid that they will choose the wrong stream when they transition into Form 4. We are so afraid that they will be friends with the wrong people. We are so afraid that their failures will reflect onto our insecure selves as adults, as parents, as guardians, as civil society, as financial and educational institutions.
Saya boleh bercakap orang dewasa bagi saya masuk campur bila berkaitan dengan saya supaya saya boleh atur masa depan sendiri dan jaga kepentingan diri. Contohnya masa nak sambung belajar ke universiti atau pindah ke pusat dekat lain.
So beyond achieving milestones and beyond achieving achievements, have we ever asked our friends, our younger friends, what makes you most happy? What makes you laugh? As Akil reminded us earlier, what he was really looking forward to when he enters secondary school is actually making new friends. Not really about the things that we as adults deem as important. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our friend Akil, who is here with his other friends, Irfan and Alif. Friends like them remind us that kita pun dulu pernah jadi budak. Kita semua pernah jadi kanak-kanak. Mungkin antara banyak-banyak cara untuk kita bekerja sama dengan anak-anak adalah bukan untuk immediately jump into the solution. Maybe we just need to pause. Kita perlu berhenti buat seketika dan menilai balik, adakah praktis-praktis kita selama ini, tak kisahlah kita sektor mana pun, kita betul ke mendengar? So I will end my sharing here today with this diagram by the Child and Youth Friendly Governance Project. Because to be really honest, there is no one right way to achieve meaningful participation of children. We were only granted permission for the young person to be presented via video today, but we try our best, and hopefully this infographic can help you to try your best too. So parents and teachers normalize having conversations with the young person as human beings rather than as an extension of us as adults. NGOs and CSOs, start learning with your communities, especially if they're younger, instead of treating them as solely project beneficiaries and for funders. To see young people themselves as your partners rather than KPIs and something to include in the project narrative report later on. Finally, all of this effort that we're going to do in a bit, hopefully, it is a right. Should be given. It's not a gift of the adults to children. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.